From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. We've been talking about the development of El Nino for the past few weeks here on AccuWeather Daily, and as the hurricane season approaches, El Nino appears to be poised to make a significant impact. Exceptionally warm waters and a developing El Nino will boost tropical activity during this year's eastern and central Pacific hurricane seasons, raising the risk of direct impacts in Hawaii, Southern California, and parts of Mexico. The eastern and central Pacific basins are expected to produce above the historical average number of named storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes this season. The Eastern Pacific hurricane season begins on May 15th, while the Central Pacific hurricane season starts on June 1st. AccuWeather lead hurricane expert Alex De Silva said that this could be an unusually active and potentially impactful year in the Pacific Basin, unlike the Atlantic Basin, where AccuWeather is forecasting fewer storms than the historical average. Significant impacts are possible in Hawaii, which was hit hard by flash flooding from back-to-back Kona low storms in March. Now, the Eastern Pacific hurricane season forecast right now is calling for 17 to 22 named storms, 9 to 13 hurricanes, 4 to 8 major hurricanes, and between 6 and 9 direct impacts to Mexico and Central America. As for the Central Pacific, the forecast is calling for 4 to 7 named storms, 2 to 4 hurricanes, 1 to 3 major hurricanes, and potentially 1 to 2 direct impacts to Hawaii. AccuWeather defines a direct impact as a storm bringing flooding, tropical storm force winds, at least 2 feet of storm surge, or passing within 60 miles of a coastline. El Nino typically favors a more active Eastern Pacific season by reducing disruptive wind shear. At the same time, very warm ocean water at the surface and hundreds of feet deep can support more tropical development and increase the risk of rapid intensification. De Silva said that the Pacific is unusually warm, and that raises the stakes this season. That extra energy stored in the ocean can help storms strengthen faster, last longer, and in some cases, move farther north toward places like Baja California and far Southern California. The increasing likelihood for the developing El Nino to intensify into a rare super El Nino later in the season could help fuel tropical development in late October and November. Southern California is not a place where people usually think about tropical impacts, but the warm water and overall pattern deserve close attention. Hurricane Hilary back in 2023 and Hurricane K in 2022 highlighted the risk of tropical rainfall and flooding impacts reaching Southern California. There will be an increased risk of significant flooding, especially when tropical moisture moves north from Mexico and interacts with the near-average North American monsoon. Tropical systems can send bursts of heavy rain into Arizona, New Mexico, and Southern California, even without a direct landfall. Storms coming out of the Pacific can push heavy rain deep into the southwest. Nora made landfall in western Mexico back in 2021, but moisture from that storm advanced north roughly 1,000 miles and triggered flash flooding in Arizona. Dozens of swiftwater rescues occurred in the Phoenix area in the wake of Nora. For Hawaii, there will be an above-average risk of significant tropical impacts, including damaging winds, flooding rain, and storm surge, as unusually warm waters south and east of the islands support stronger systems. There is a higher-than-average risk of direct impacts across Baja California Sur, Sinaloa, Michoacan, Colima, Jalisco, and Guerrero, based on AccuWeather analysis. Well, a late-season snowstorm buried parts of Colorado from Tuesday into Wednesday, snarling traffic there, knocking out power, and piling up more than 2 feet of snow in the mountains. Snow was scarce across Colorado for much of the winter, making the storm a rare and badly needed burst of moisture for a state gripped by drought. In Denver, nearly 6 inches of snow had accumulated at the airport by early Wednesday afternoon, making it the city's biggest May snowstorm since 2003. On the west side of downtown, Around 8 inches was reported, slowing the Wednesday morning commute and forcing some schools to close there. Just north in Boulder, 11 inches was reported. The snow was slow to stick to roads, but it clung to nearly every other surface, including trees that had already leafed out for spring. More than 50,000 power outages were reported across Colorado on Wednesday morning, but by Thursday morning, power had been restored to most of those. The storm also arrived well after Denver's usual window for accumulating snow. Based on historical averages, April 22nd is typically the last date the city records at least 1 inch of snowfall. Snowfall was much heavier in the mountains, where totals topped 2 feet in the hardest hit areas. Estes Park, just outside Rocky Mountain National Park, measured 28 inches of snow by Wednesday morning. The blast of wintry weather will not last long, though, especially in the lower elevations. Snow will melt quickly in Denver as temperatures climb into the 70s later on this week. In the mountains, though, the quick shift from heavy snow to warmth and sunshine could create some hazards. Folks with the Rocky Mountain National Park warned that avalanche conditions will become very dangerous above the tree line. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com, and for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the free AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day, be weather aware, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.